Checkmate.
Hello and welcome back to Chess and Media. I'm Sarah Herman, former USCF chess expert, and today we're going to be picking apart an episode of The X-Files. The only thing I really know about this show is that it has something to do with aliens. I've never actually watched it. I watched this episode specifically for this video, as per request of the Patreon. So the basic plot is we follow a detective who is assigned cases that are difficult to solve, a little bit like House, but instead of medical cases, it's unsolved police cases that have something to do with paranormal activity, and these cases are labeled The X-Files. So we're looking at season 5's finale called The End, which is a little funny because when looking for this episode... That's enough. Do you understand? Skit. So anyways, yeah, this episode is called The End, which is like a failed opportunity because there's another episode in the show that I accidentally almost watched called Endgame or The Endgame or something, and I just feel like they could have planned that better. So the episode starts out in the most packed stadium I've ever seen. I feel like most boxing events don't get this many people. I like that they immediately start us off with a view of the board, and not only that, something I've been asking for a lot, an aerial shot of the board. So this is the starting position, and I can tell that they put a lot of thought into this for the most part. This first starting position that we get on the screen is already white to play and win. Pause the video here if you want to find it. So the next few shots contain spoilers for the answer to that puzzle, so if you haven't solved it yet, go back and solve it. But the very next shot we see Gibson, the 12-year-old prodigy, playing for the United States against a Russian grandmaster, we're to assume. He played the move knight f6 check, sacrificing an entire knight. Why is this move so good? Well, first of all, it's a fork, meaning that we're making two threats at once. Knights are very polite, they like to eat with forks. So if black just ignores me and moves the king, I can just be up material. It's actually worse to accept this gambit and take the knight. So it's one thing if you found this move, but you have to find the exact right follow-up here, and it's not that forcing, so it's pretty hard. In this position, white played the move bishop h6, and the threat is pretty simple. It's I want to play queen g4 followed by queen g7 checkmate, and there's not really anything black can do to stop this because all of the pieces are on the wrong side of the board to protect the king. So I just sort of filled in the gaps here because they don't actually show this, but f5 is the best move here, the best defense, because it stops the queen and the rook from coming to g4 to give check, and the g3 square is covered by the bishop. Now, if you didn't solve the first one, I recommend you pause the video here. Even if you found knight f6, like, this is still difficult to find the follow-up here. White played the move rook g4 check, sacrificing a rook now. This rook looks like it's entirely free, but this works because if they take the rook, now the queen can come to g4. So we were giving up a full rook, but the point was to gain the g4 square, which would lead to another forced checkmate. Black doesn't have to take the rook though. Black can play king h8. In this position, I'm assuming queen c3 check was played because the next close-up shot we skip right from this position to this position. This is the very next shot we get, and I just kind of assumed all that happened because it's the only logical way for this position to arise. The thing is, if this is the position, this is another force meeting too, like what white just plays queen takes f6 check, and black can't escape on the g file, and they have to block with the queen followed by checkmate. And I can't for the life of me understand why they would show a close-up of this shot, because in the very next shot, the pawn is back on f7 and there's a rook on e5, so I assume that Gibson was nice and just gave him a take back. The white played the move rook g8 check here, which gives black one legal move, I have to take back, followed by queen g3 to g7 mate, and then we experience a time skip, which I assume is part of the paranormal activity going on. We then see Gibson play this move again, which is great. I mean, I love to see this move twice, but he did already play it. As this move is played, we see that in the rafters there's a strange man putting together what seems to be a large gun, a sniper rifle. Not a Kalashnikov, unfortunately. I know it would be less effective, but it would be more on theme for the chess episode. So black plays king takes g8, white goes queen to g3 check, mate is incoming after king h8, queen g7 is about to be played, when Gibson starts to hear voices, and it feels like he's aware that there's someone hiding in the rafters. Gibson plays the move queen g7 checkmate.
Checkmate.
as he's getting checkmated, also gets assassinated. This is quite the step up from the house episode, let me tell you. Back at what I assume is like police headquarters, there's a big group of people in suits watching the video back, trying to figure out why this Russian chess player was killed, when the main character butts in with a theory.
I'm sorry, can you rewind the tape?
Let me get through this. If you have any questions, we can talk later.
I don't have any questions, no. I just think you're wrong. I don't think the Russian was the target. I think it was his opponent.
His opponent, Agent Mulder, was a 12-year-old boy.
And a good chess player. Here, let me show you his best move if you just take it back. Look what the kid does right here, right before the kill shot. You see what he does? Just pushes back. You see that?
He's just completed a checkmate. He's pushing back because the game's over.
I'm kind of on the side of the other guy here. It's pretty reasonable to sit back down because he's a kid, you know? He doesn't have his booster seat. I don't know if that's strong enough evidence to say that the kid was the target. Like, the kid was the target, but I don't know. I wouldn't be convinced either.
Looks like the boy sensed the shooter precognitively. If you rewind the tape, you'll see it.
I mean, that is more convincing, but it's like really nothing out of the ordinary for kid chess players to be like looking behind them like that. They go to meet Gibson, the 12-year-old chess prodigy. They interrupt him while he's watching The Simpsons, which, you know, would irritate me.
I don't want to play any chess.
How do you know I want to?
Because you got that cheap old chess computer in your hand.
The kid seems to know what's happening before it happens or before anyone says anything. You know, it seems like he's a pretty smart kid. It makes sense. Like, yeah, there were context clues. He was holding a chessboard. But the detective thinks this is just like a sign that he reads minds already. So he has this theory that Gibson actually can't play chess at all. He's only good because he can read minds. And he tries to prove this by making the kid play against a computer that he brought with him because he can't read a computer's mind. But, I mean, it's still a computer. They're still difficult to beat. He was watching his cartoons and you come in and you make him play chess against your rinky-dink little toy. You know, I'd be annoyed too. He's assuming that because he can read minds, he must not be good at chess at all. But I keep thinking about this. If I were playing a 1200 and I was reading their mind, they're gonna still be having 1200 thoughts. And I'm gonna have to have like 1300 thoughts of my own in order to beat them, if that makes sense. Unless they're literally right before they make each mistake, like they don't realize it, they make a move and then they're like, oh, that was a mistake. But the thing is, if they don't in the moment realize they're making the mistake, you're not gonna know they made a mistake either by reading their minds. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm sure it would help, obviously, to read minds, but it's not gonna make you a grandmaster level player automatically. They then have him do all these clairvoyant tests, and I feel like I was watching Beyond Two Souls here. And while we're on that topic, by the way, I watched Stranger Things for the first time like a month or two ago, and that show completely ripped off Beyond Two Souls, like in every way. I mean, of course, everything's derivative, but like, come on. So the kid is under 24-hour surveillance and protection, and he's in a motel watching King of the Hill. This is like the most based kid ever. You know, he's watching The Simpsons, King of the Hill, he's a chess grandmaster, he reads minds, like, pretty cool. Gibson then starts to hear voices and walks over to the window, and when asked what's wrong, he says,
"There's a man with a gun."
Gibson, get down. Get back. Get back.
He then gets someone else killed. I don't understand why he stands like right in the line of the gun. But now that there's no one there to protect him, Gibson gets taken by the bad guys who I think were trying to kill him, but now just want him alive and with them. This is the season finale, and I assume that the plot then continues from here. I only care about chess, so I'm not gonna do that. I really liked the premise of this episode. I feel like they could have done so much more with it, but most of the episode was just like drama and like between characters that I didn't recognize. It wasn't that interesting other than like the really cool chess scene. Good news, I actually appealed the Frasier demonetization and they actually approved it. So that means that hopefully from here on out, these episodes will be monetized. So make sure to leave a comment down below what you want to see next. But if you still want to give me extra support on Patreon, there's a link for that in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.